The race for Donald Trump to be, re-elected president is well and truly on, or who should be president in 2020 is on. The Democrats are fighting amongst themselves, a circular firing squad that seems to be obsessed about how far left can you go. Donald Trump, he hopes that he can win his trade standoff with China, a whole bunch of other things that he hopes he can repeat, what some considered improbable, most of us say miracle, victory that took place in 2016. Well, we also like to read in much of the lefty media who want to pretend that, he only sort of fluked it, remember, just tippy touch, sort of stole it just on the tips of his toes. And they try to constantly search for supporters of Donald Trump who have apparently melted away. Well, here's two who have only strengthened their steel for Donald Trump over the past little while, and they'll be fighting hard for his re-election in 2020. Major Sergeant Mike J. Kelly and Alan McCormick join us now. They're part of Veterans for Trump, and they join us here on the roof of the Fox News building. Gentlemen, hello. G'day.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to Australian television.
Thank you to be here.
Thank you for having us in your country. It's very cool.
Great having you.
Why come out so publicly for Trump?
Well, it's just he is going to fix problems and continue to fix problems. I go all the way back to when he was just candidate Trump. I had some favorites in the game like Ben Carson and Mike Huckabee and others. But I was trying to help veterans at the time. I'm a retired Air Force guy, and I started a business after getting back from Afghanistan. And when President Trump came out so heavily for veterans, that's what touched me. And now you have to stop and think, veterans are unafraid. So we're not ashamed. We're never cowering. We're logical thinking, critical thinking people. And when you start doing the comparisons, there's just no comparison.
The nature of the work we do is very pragmatic. You can't wish and hope. You have to deal with what is, not what you may want. Donald Trump is highly intelligent, very well educated, but more important than those, he's very wise. And what I mean by that is he understands the ways of business, he understands the way of dealing with people, and he is an incredible problem solver.
How do you feel, though, as when either the tweets happen or the silly quotes, the stuff that I know that there's a lot of noise that the media latches onto, but do you view him as, frankly, an imperfect figure like we all are, and therefore imperfect people do silly things sometimes?
We're veterans. Many times we speak the same way he does, right? So, yeah, it doesn't offend us. And I think sometimes you have to look at what Trump does in his tweets with the perspective of what is he really doing? Not what he's talking about, not what he says over there in the tweetosphere, but what is he actually doing day to day? You know, I heard before in a previous election, it's the economy, stupid. We have the best economy that we've seen since President Reagan.
Yeah. What's this thing? Well, Alan, also, we were talking a bit off air. To be a visible Trump supporter, as you said, as a veteran, nothing's going to scare you. But I'd imagine that there are millions of people who won't wear the hat, won't wear the T-shirt, won't put the sticker on, because the abuse that you get for supporting the democratically elected president, it's crazy.
It is. And the way I knew in 2016 President Trump was going to win is I started traveling around the country, and you could see 10-to-1 Trump signs versus Clinton signs. I'm not sure if it's going to be that heavy because there have been property damage and things of that nature done to people who put out the signs. But I assure you there is a silent majority.
So what do you think are the issues that will propel Trump in 2020 on top of just more of the same? What do you think? Are there cultural issues? Are there free speech fights? What are some of the things that are happening below the radar that maybe places like Australia and the news doesn't cover?
I think that Donald Trump is amazingly able to tap into the feelings and the American public writ large that people are not generally talking about in the public square. You know, you mentioned there's this thing, you don't want to wear the hat, you don't want to wear the T-shirt. I think a lot of people think things that they don't publicly say so they don't face that public wrath. But I think there's a tremendous, Mike used the term silent majority, there's a tremendous number of Americans who believe in what Donald Trump is doing. You know, I don't think Donald Trump, the businessman, likes tariffs, as well as any American does. But that's a tool that he can use to get to the end that he needs, and that is putting more Americans to work, building our economy, making the nation stronger, both militarily. You know, what he's done for the military since he's been president has been nothing short of miraculous. You know, he signed a budget that added to our deficit, and when he did it, he said, "I'm doing this because this is what my military needs." That takes a tremendous amount of courage.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I see under the radar is sort of overt, but yet covert, because I have a son-in-law who's black. I have a biracial granddaughter who I love dearly. So that whole side of the family talks to me, and they have various views. But over the past 2 years, I've seen a softening towards President Trump because they know their lives are getting better.
Yeah.
Everybody knows their lives are getting better. And it's sort of a subliminal thing. It's not as overt. Yeah, sure, we're talking about a good economy and all that, but it's what people feel. And I can tell you, I'm a business consultant now, and my businesses will tell you they're doing much better. So it's that general dynamic, that upswelling from the bottom. And the Democrats used to own the middle class. Trump owns the middle class now.
This is it. Now, being veterans for Trump, I want to ask you about your service. You mentioned in Afghanistan. What did you do?
Well, I was 23 years in the Air Force Special Operations, and my job essentially boiled down to making sure guys could be extracted from behind enemy lines. So I taught them how to survive if they got shot down and be extracted, counter-interrogation, things of that nature.
Wow, that's amazing. What about you?
I spent 24 years in the Army and the Army Reserve. I served in places like Germany and Italy. I also had the great responsibility and honor to be a company commander at a unit that was deployed to Operation Desert Storm in Saudi Arabia in 1991. So you learn about other places in the world, and you learn how good things are in America, how we have so much more than many other people, and you learn to be grateful for that.
Have either of you been to Australia?
Never.
No, I was scheduled to go there, and there was some kind of dust-up between the Prime Minister and America over nuclear warships. I think it was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I would love to go.
You got to come back, Texas without the guns. That's what you got to think, all right?
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
heard about your gun situation.
Correct. Gentlemen, thank you for your service. All the best in the next little while.
Thank you, Paul.
And good luck getting the president back over the line.
Bless you.
Thank you
We
very
will.
much.